anything changed for you since yesterday?
I want to see more Dragon and I want to see more Haven before I can actually answer that question 100%. But I also would wish that people just stop comfort picking Portalcraft. If we see Portalcraft again here, I'm gonna wonder, like, who wrote the article saying Portalcraft was the best?
That's an interesting discussion. Like, what happened to where almost everyone started picking Portalcraft in Take-Two?
It definitely seems to be something people have practiced. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, it has to be a comfort pick kind of thing. Like I mentioned yesterday, they can be very consistent and they have good board control. So it's not like they have like a bad matchup in Take-Two that can be taken advantage of, I guess.
And Praetorian, I just want to make everybody aware every time we see it. If you give us your Skype information before the tournament starts and you get to the top 8, we will post your lovely face up on broadcast and we'll give you 1,000 extra vials for doing so. So make sure you give us your information if you want to get cast. Vials.
All right.
That's pretty worth it. I mean, you can eat some ice cream on camera, get 1,000 vials for free.
Yeah.
Sounds
no problem.
good.
Absolutely.
Ice cream on camera. Isn't that a throwback?
Yeah. I miss it. I miss wondering what flavor of ice cream. Yeah.
Yeah. I want ice cream now.
All right,
kind
Abby.
of chilly.
You have a show to cast, Rainey. Sorry, buddy.
Please.
Please.
Help.
Ice cream more important. All right, Envy, talk to us Shadowcraft. What are you looking to get in Shadowcraft? What do you want your curve to look like? What do you got for us?
Shadowcraft's main plan is just to flood the board. It's very similar to their constructed game plan, but basically you saw a very early pick of Prince Catacombs, and that's going to be Praetorian's main focus of his deck, right? He wants to fill his deck with 2-drops, obviously. We've been over why you want those. He wants to have a medium number of 3-drops, but he also wants to make sure that mid-game is able to take advantage of Prince Catacombs. So hopefully he's going to find something like Orthrus, and if he can't, he's going to try and find some just late game control that can transition out of that mid game.
Absolutely. And one of the coolest cards that I've seen in Shadowcraft that we know from Constructed, Zombie Party. I feel like Zombie Party in Take-Two is just unreal. Like, I feel like
it actually is, yeah.
Yeah, if you get like 2 or 3 of those in your deck and you go into the late game, it doesn't even matter if you have threats. You're just like, I'm gonna kill your coolest threat, and now I have a board. Have fun with that.
I've once drafted 4 of those, and I think I got like 4 wins off of just having that many zombie parties in my deck.
Yeah.
It's an insane card in Take-Two.
5-star Take-Two card, absolutely.
5 stars.
That left. Oh my gosh.
Skill Ring and a Spartoy Sergeant.
That right's pretty good too.
The right was good too, but Skull Ring and Spartoy Sergeant is one of the best bronze duos you can see. Name me a more iconic duo, Exo. Go for it, budty.
A more iconic duo? I mean, there's a million of them, right? But we'll
Saha Israfel.
Yeah, Saha Israfel, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Bahamut and Dragon Oracle.
Yeah, Bahamut and Dragon Oracle.
Pretty iconic duo.
Ooh, another Skull Ring. This is actually looking really good for Praetorian.
That's interesting. I feel like he's had a lot of good decisions for the early game, but his link. Oh, Dark Alice. That's it. Dark Alice.
Oh,
right there.
This is a little rough.
Ruh-roh.
Can you actually comfortably pick Dark Alice in Take-Two without
no, you
fear
can't,
of your life?
The trick here is that So Death is usually bad until turn 10. And Dark Alice is always bad. So the trick here is to pick the Ceres and hope you never draw Ledger.
Ah, yes. Okay, fair enough.
Dark Alice is great. I don't know why.
She'll banish your whole deck for you.
Have you seen Dark Alice's animation?
Yeah.
He actually took Dark Alice.
Wow.
That's what's up.
Wow. Okay, so the reason we're talking about Dark Alice is because if you don't have very many neutrals left in your deck, it kind of puts you into this weird position. It doesn't die, so it can be a really cool endgame, but you have to know how many neutrals are left in your deck, and you have to win.
So the interesting thing is, if you know what the neutrals are, if there's something that's like really sick,
but
if you have the Grimnir
So Death
Israfel.
is turn So Death is I believe it's turn tide, isn't it, or is it play point tide?
So Death Reap Life, I believe, is turn tide. It reanimates.
Turn tide, right?
X,
so turn 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That thing is dead. Dark Alice is dead. I really want to see.
If you draft a Grimnir and an Israfel, and possibly just a few other neutrals, and you haven't drawn them. Yeah, but you didn't. Right. Yeah. I don't know. But both players are on Shadowcraft, so we get to see who got the better deck. So this will be an interesting one. This is the first time we've seen a Shadow Mirror
deck.
Yeah,
is definitely the winner here.
Okay, he's voting for Dark Alice. What do you think, Envy?
Of course he is. Yeah, Rainey he votes for the cards that are bad. Okay, that's what he does. I'm gonna vote for Shadowcraft, so I can't lose.
There we go. Perfect. Perfect.
Oh God. All right. Well, Envy never loses. You heard it here first.
That's true.
Well, let's get ready to jump into the game, and we'll gather Envy's thoughts after the game has concluded. But I'm really interested to see how these decks will play out. It is interesting to think about how if the majority of your deck is Shadowcraft cards, because when Dark Alice is destroyed, you banish all the Shadowcraft cards in your deck, which also kind of which also kind of means that it just limits you to whatever. It can really kind of filter out your deck in a very, very dramatic way.
We've seen Dark Alice try to be successful in Constructed. You know what I mean? Try to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes you see it on ladder, and sometimes it gives you headaches because you're just like, test of strength every single turn for the rest of the game. How do I win?
Yeah.
But it's really hard to actually make it work. And in Take Two, it might just be that he just wanted something he could play. Like, honestly speaking, if your opponent's at 5 or less, right, and you play a Dark Alice, you don't really need that many turns.
Yeah.
It will just end them if they don't have something to block at every single turn.
Yeah. Banish. Is Fall from Grace?
Fall from Grace can
Fall from
transform
Grace,
it.
yeah.
Yep. That'll get rid of it. So very hard to deal with, though, right? Because when it dies, it comes back just like old Mordecai.
Yep.
So.
And it has a really cool clock animation.
It does.
Yes.
It does. I mean, quite literally, that is what it puts you on. So.
Yeah. Very appropriate.
LAFELLA showing off his sweet leader.
Wow.
The new Cerberus leader. Very jealous. Also on camera.
One day, I'll also get a leader.
I'll never get one. I will keep continuing to open packs and just,
hope
keep
for the best.
about my luck. Yeah.
Hope for the best.
All right, so both players going to have a decent curve to start off here. Of course, LAFELLA might be the first one with a Skull Ring, which definitely puts him ahead in my book.
Yeah, this curve is really great for Praetorian. There's ways for him to play out his turns and get value and.
All right, so this is going to be a pretty tight mirror. Both players have pretty much the same options. You know, Zombie Party replaced by Undying Resentment, but their curves look very similar. Looks like LAFELLA is going to opt to play the Skull Ring later, possibly to get a 2-drop under it.
Oh, wow, the Orthrus on curve, too.
Ouch.
That's a card that we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. I miss Orthrus. I think Orthrus is pretty good. I think it's even good in this current metagame, and in Take Two, it's just absurd, right? We talk about all these cards that get around Evolution Orbs to be able to take things out. Not only does it get around Evolution Orbs to take something out, it also buffs your guy.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Which is huge for Shadowcraft that, I mean, you know, back in the days when Orthrus was everywhere, right? The name of the game was to go as wide as possible, and so that there would always be something that Orthrus can buff.
Absolutely. And he might take a gamble here. There's a way to control this a little bit. I kind of like the gamble, though.
Oh, okay. That actually works.
Yep.
That works.
It's all good. Now it really just depends. Does he want to solidify this board and use an Evolution Orb defensively? He could also use it offensively on the 1-1 and just go all face here. I don't think that's the option. He's got to take care of that Goblin Leader.
Yeah. I think... Yeah, he has a Zombie Party.
Yeah.
So, evolving the skeleton is not going to help it avoid that.
Wow.
Interesting.
Was not expecting that play, especially the 1-2 instead of the 2-1.
Maybe he just doesn't feel like he wants to make sure the board is as weak as possible in terms of defense. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting line of play. And now with the Bellinus, Skull Ring will have a good target to reanimate.
Similarly for Praetorian, this is the reanimate turn for him. Gets the actress back.
I've got to say Troth's Curse, too. Troth's Curse is one of those other options that Shadowcraft has access to that's super cheap, activates the way you want it to in the class, and can just take out anything. Great card. Not a lot of classes have access to removal in general, just like good removal, but Troth's Curse costing 3 makes it very easy to use along the curve when you want it.
Is there a good way for Praetorian to make use of the actress Feria here?
I mean, from hand, we see that there is a Goblin Leader. There is an Axe Fighter. I mean, yes, I feel like getting more stats out of your evolution is probably the best. He's going to want to use it defensively this turn anyway. And he gets to follow up with a Bellinus, too, for more board control. So this is going to be a slugfest for quite a few turns here. Yeah, probably just going to make positive board trades. Not sure if he's going to use a removal spell if he wants to draw another card this turn, or use a Bellinus. I like Bellinus the most.
All right. The first evolution orb is used here, and LaFELLA has to think about how he wants to respond to the resources thrown on the table on the side of Praetorian. Bellinus has an opportunity to go crazy.
Yeah. Can't actually take out 2 of these followers, possibly a bigger one in Bellinus.
If you zombie party, for example, the Axe Fighter, and throw the skeleton in, and then Bellinus into the Actiospheria, you have a 50-50 of taking out the Orthers as well.
That's true. I don't like using the zombie party in that way when you're about to hit turn 7 and you don't need to use it. There are a few other options here. One of the hardest cards, this is interesting to me. So we talk about Troth's Curse, right, and how it's good because it's a removal spell. Demon Eater is a card draw spell that's actually, I feel like, a little bit harder to use in Take 2 because you don't really ever want to be giving up your board presence, even if it is for cards.
Yeah.
But in a situation where you get a ghost, maybe that's the option.
Yep. This is good. The ghost comes up. The Bellinus. Oh, no! Oh, no!
That doesn't feel good.
Oh, no. The order of operations. The ghost peeks its head out the window and immediately gets whisked away.
Yep. But then LaFELLA with more good value plays here. The Apprentice Necromancer putting an extra zombie into play. Anytime you can get extra effects out of your card and take 2, also very good. Basically just steals the tempo all the way back and will recover.
Turn. It was a big turn for LaFELLA.
Big turn. That's what we talk about a lot, especially in these Shadow games, just board swings. How does it look this turn? How does it look next turn? And it just goes back and forth. However, Praetorian doesn't have a great way to basically come all the way back into this without losing the entire board himself. And then we see LaFELLA again with that zombie party in hand.
Yeah. And that's going to be impactful. Now, LaFELLA doesn't have many cards left, has a Demon Eater to kind of speed things up a little bit. But the options are basically on the table now.
Yep. This I feel like this is just a rough turn. Like, he has good options here, but from what we know, next turn, LaFELLA's just going to take right back over again. And then Praetorian's not really going to have any options left. I mean, Goblin Leader can help him get some kind of a semblance of a board back.
Yeah. Spends the Evolution Orb just to make sure that nothing remains. But, again, we just know how strong this zombie party turn is going to be.
Getting Bellinus back as well, just to keep board control flowing. Yeah, I can't see a reason not to zombie party here.
Oh, man. 4 followers wide of 2/2s.
When you're staring at that without some kind of, like, Odile off the top? Huh? No. Okay.
Nope.
Not that lucky. Oh, that's right. We know he doesn't have an Odile.
This is so tough.
Wish it into being.
Yeah. LaFELLA, basically since turn 5, has been just having huge turns back to back.
So here's a question with Skull Ring. Obviously, if you have multiples in your deck, playing it on turn 3 is still a great option, especially if you had a 2-drop. We saw LaFELLA kind of miss, the early part of his curve and use the Skull Ring later. But going into these like really late mid-game turns, might it even be better to save the Skull Ring to help control the board later, because it is kind of like a board wipey type of spell, because you get 2/1 damage pings, you get a 2/2 back, things like that. Do you think it's better to save it until later, or still play it on curve?
I mean, it's a good question, right? I almost wonder, I guess. Yeah, I feel like there wasn't really a better option. I guess it's just, when do you give ground to your opponent, and how much effect do you get from it later? Is it going to bomb the board harder, right? Is it going to swing the game back into your favor even more dramatically than if you had saved it and tried for some other option?
Yeah, like I think against Forestcraft, you immediately do it, always, right? When you're playing in these Shadow matchups, I feel like getting early board presence is really good, but we saw LaFELLA basically give away early board presence in favor, because he had to, of later board presence. I'm just trying to think about if that's just the correct play anyway. And yeah, I just don't see it coming back now. I mean, especially after Skeleton Prince, like, what a card to just push you ahead when you're already ahead.
Yeah. Skeleton Prince feels like a shut the door card in Take Two more so than anything else.
It's a built-in Prince Catacomb into your double threat play in a single turn. It's pretty cool. Oh, God.
Oh, man. I think, how much damage is on the board? 3, 5, 7, 9, 11,
13 up
13. Oh, my gosh.
And
oh
gets
my
the lucky
goodness.
roll.
Ugh.
That doesn't feel good. Yeah, even the Ebon Reaper. Ebon Reaper, a fantastic card in Take Two because it can usually take down multiple threats. It's really hard to get rid of. But when you're facing down a full board.
Yeah, got your work cut out for you.
Wow, and Praetorian actually being played defensively into here. Interesting.
The Demon Eater finds a good shot. Demon Eater into skeletons is definitely the way you want to do it.
And LaFella basically just taking no chances this game. He's like, I know I'm ahead, but I'm literally just going to clear out everything you possibly can do, but he's still going to use the Evolution Orb offensively. Sees a 2-turn lethal.
Yeah. So this is one of the first situations. Oh.
Wow.
With the Evolve, you can swing twice, right? So you can choose to remove the fighter and then the Evolve zombie?
Well, the Shadows will allow him to not use the Evolution Orb. It'll evolve for the
that's
Shadows.
Right. Yep. So he maintains the resource. Interesting because it wasn't the enhanced cost, so he can actually Troth's Curse afterwards if he really wants to. Though I think it's lower value to do that.
Oh, wow. Is he going for a super value play here? Maybe he's going to take out the 1-2 and Troth's Curse? I was thinking maybe go for, the 3-1, the 4-4.
Yeah.
Take out the big threats, but this technically gets away more damage from the board.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Interesting. So leaves. I'm not sure about that attack. However, I don't think it's much in the face of the card advantage LaFella has and board advantage.
Yeah. He's going to be able to fill out the board again this turn. And there's just no board clear in sight, right?
And just look at all these cards, just extra zombies, turn after turn after turn, whether it be Zombie Party, Apprentice Necromancer, Skull Ring to get your 2-2 backs. It's just really hard to keep the board clean.
Yeah. Really would like to see some heavier neutrals come down and, clear the board or set up a ward. Oh, Mail of Obliteration.
Unfortunately, not the card he needed to draw here. As a matter of fact, I don't really think there was a card in his deck that could come back in this situation, unfortunately.
There it is. 15 to this follower's attack. Oh my gosh.
Aisha plus Mail of Obliteration at the end of the game. Like, that would have been an awesome endgame push had he not just been in such a poor position.
He's going to have to Troth's Curse this huge Mail of Obliteration.
Yeah, just to stay alive.
Man, that feels real bad.
I gotta say, I like it when a player will force his opponent to kill him. You know what I mean? Take me down. I'm not gonna do the work for you.
Yeah. Oh.
It's the first time I've seen a Dual Blade Warrior cast in a long time.
Dual Blade Warrior is not something, and this is what's great about Take Two is we see a lot of cards that we wouldn't normally see in the other formats.
Yeah, Praetorian not drawing bad cards any of these turns, honestly. It's just when you're so far behind and you don't have any big board clear, sometimes the game just runs away from you.
He could not swing back against a zombie party. And we were watching his draft. He had a few zombie parties of his own, too.
Yeah.
I feel like he could have made good use out of those. It is interesting how much you have to value just kind of the wide board control options. I mean, just look at this game, right?
It's tough. I mean, almost every game that we've seen has either come down to somebody just getting too far ahead on board or being able to wipe the board, in the case of a Magna Legacy or anything like that, to come back into it if you don't have those out.